Are you disappointed with where the sport has gone now? With it's become so uniform, slower, less attacking play. Even Wimbledon, the hallowed grounds of the All England Club, you rarely see a serve and volley player. But how do you assess the modern game?
I love the modern game. I think I love watching the top guys. I love watching Roger and Rafa and that rivalry, and Djokovic is doing great, and Murray's up there. But you're right, the contrast isn't there. The serve and volley tennis isn't there. It's a lost art, and you do look at Wimbledon, and it's hard to watch sometimes. I mean, these guys are great, and they move great, and they hit great shots on the run, and they're great athletes and all that. But I miss that attacking serve and volley, natural fluidity that you don't see much. Now it's just the best athletes are winning all these matches. It's not because they move better, they're mentally tougher, and everyone just sort of plays the same. You know, I do miss the contrast.
Besides the Edinburgh match, do you have a biggest regret?
You know, at the time, I wanted nothing to do with this, but I was recommended that I use a different racket for the clay, a bigger racket. Use one of these. At the time, the Babolat racket wasn't really out, but just willing to experiment on the clay with some technology. And I was stubborn. I stuck to my Wilson Pro staff at 80 pounds. You know, is it a regret? I mean, at the time, I did pretty well, you know, at the time, you know, with my racket. And so I didn't want to change it. So other than that, no, I don't have any regrets. I worked hard. I sacrificed. I tried to stay number one as long as I could. I went out on my terms. And I look back at my career, and I did everything I could do. That last match against Andre was the last I had in my tank. I was completely done. Emotionally and physically, I was cooked.
Are you aware that you, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, it's a very small group that were actually able to walk away on top?
I'm aware, and I wasn't planning on it. I really wasn't. I wasn't like when I was 28, 29, struggling like, oh, I'm going to win a major and I'm done. It just happened. You know, I went through a couple years where I was struggling. I won that major, and I really did ask myself the question, what was next? You know, am I going to, you know, get ready for Australia or the French, or like, where was I at? And I just took the next 6 months to really try to figure that out. And just, I wanted to play. I was still practicing, and I was still getting ready for Wimbledon, but I remember just getting through some hits with Paul, and I just said, you know, Paul, I don't really feel like practicing anymore. It's not worth the work anymore. Like I won that last major, and it took a lot out of me. And the 2 years took a lot out of me. So I just felt, emotionally, I was done. It wasn't physical. I still could play, but emotionally, I was cooked.
You had some tragedy midway through your career with the passing of Tim Gullikson, one of the great people in tennis. And that was one of the few times where you really did reveal your emotions on the court. Had a breakdown when you were playing one of your rivals, Jim Courier, at the Australian Open. One of your best efforts. Got to the final, lost in 4 sets to Andre. How much did his passing take out of you and impact you?
It had a lot of an impact on me, just because I was losing a great coach, but also I was losing a good friend, and his cancer was hard to see. I mean, it was, you know, Tim is a vibrant, expressive, positive guy, and he slowly just lost his spirit, and it was hard to see. And it was a great loss for me, for his family, for the sport of tennis. It was just a tough couple years, and you know, through that time, I tried to play well. I tried to win. We talked a lot about my tennis. I try to keep him involved, and you know, but after a while, it's, you know, fortunately, I had Paul Annacone to sort of step in, and it was sort of a touchy situation, but it was all everyone was positive about it, and you know, obviously to see Tim lose his life, it was, you know, he's 43 or 44. He was too young, and just a sad situation.
You had an amazing generation of American players, Courier, Chang, and Andre. We're going to do a little word association. Which one did you like the most? Which one did you respect the most? And which one did you fear the most on the court?
On the court, fear the most was Andre. Respected, probably Jim. What was the other? Liked.
Poor Michael's going to get left out on this.
No, I liked them all. I did like them all. I mean, not like I disliked any of those guys. We're all very different, and we all we needed each other in a way. We all, I don't say we're envious of one another. Like, when, Michael got his major, then I got my major, then I think we all sort of needed one another to really push each other. We all wanted the same things, and only a couple of guys could really get it. It was a great time for American tennis, and it was one of those deals that I think we all came out of it pretty good friends. I mean, it was competitive. I mean, it's a tough sport. It's not golf. It's not basketball. I mean, it's one-on-one, and it's just, man, you can't. It's like boxing. You can't get around that. It's just, I think for the most part we got out of our careers, like I said, good friends, respectful. We all get along pretty well today, and it's all good.